So my name is Sue Patterson and I'm the Mayor of Broxtowe. And this evening I've been along to watch the Porky Players in Shaken Not Stirred.
Fantastic. A quick question. What memory will you take away from today's show?
The bravery of the people up on the stage, because it's not easy accepting that you have got a condition, and actually putting yourself out there and just spreading the awareness itself can be difficult.
Fantastic. Do you think that it's a good way to raise awareness of all clients?
Absolutely. If you can make somebody laugh, I think they remember more and they'll take that away with them. If you can make them smile, I think it's a good way of bringing people together.
So now, what was the first time you heard about the show? When the first time you heard? What did you think the first time?
Right. Well, I actually, Denise, who is the wife of one of the Porky Players, comes to the crochet class I run. So she had told me about the show, and obviously I have seen all the information on social media about them going up to the Edinburgh Fringe. So I was really excited and looking forward to coming along this evening.
So in relation to that, was it what you expected, or was there anything that surprised you about that TV show you weren't expecting? Or things that you were expecting and really glad to see they were
now that's a hard one. I didn't really know what to expect. I knew it was a little bit of a comedy. I think it was all a bit of a surprise, really. But yeah, they were, yeah, that's a difficult one to answer. I'm sorry.
You don't
You can put that.
That's the honesty. And with the show, was there anything you thought that they did really well in how to inform the audience about certain things about the audience?
The game show element, I think, about symptoms definitely highlighted and informed people about things that they wouldn't probably recognise as Parkinson's symptoms or symptoms of the treatments.
And yourself, are there, even if you only name one or if there was any, is there anything that you weren't aware about Parkinson's that's not
Can I actually suffer with dystonia. So before I was diagnosed with dystonia, they might have thought it was Parkinson's. So I didn't know. Yeah.
That's fine. If you want to answer that, that's perfectly fine.
Okay.
You would say, in your experience, you know some people who recognize their certain symptoms of Parkinson's or Parkinson's. That would be fine.
Yeah. What was the question again?
Are there any symptoms that they explain in the show that people who have those Parkinson's that people used to? What things do you think are good to make the public aware of that stuff?
Yeah. I think the facial masking is good to highlight because people can think you're just being blank. You sometimes can't help that you can't express through your face, and people do look for facial expressions to see how people are feeling, the emotions. And when you've got masking, it's really hard to display your emotions.
I suppose any final thoughts on the show, anything that stands out from the show that you're going to remember from tonight and stuff like that as well?
I think the final song, I think if you didn't shed a tear there, I did well up at that. I think it just hits it home that when you are diagnosed with something, it's really difficult to overcome that and take part in things again. And I think that highlighted that step, that leap that they've made to do that this evening and to raise awareness. I think it's really brave. Was that all right?
Yeah, that was great. No, perfect.
Yeah, it's really hard.
My name's Andres, and I've come to see the Parky Players, shaken not stirred.
Fantastic. So, what memory will you take away from tonight's show?
Well, firstly, it's just seeing some mates having a good time putting on a wonderful production. And secondly, whilst I'm a friend of one of the cast, and so do know a bit about Parkinson's, I always feel like I'm away from one of their productions knowing just that little bit more.
So, you've seen their productions before, and from what you've just said, there's always something that you found is useful, that I'm guessing that you can then just be aware of yourself. How, and obviously you say you've already fled with them, so you know some things as well already. What benefit might this show, or these types of shows, have to someone who has hardly any knowledge about Parkinson's?
I think if you have no knowledge whatsoever, then there's so much to learn. I mean, the shows primarily they're about just it's a bit of fun, isn't it? It's coming along for a good time, a nice evening, but you do take away some really useful, important information put over in a very disarming, very casual way. It's great stuff.
Do you think it's a good way to raise awareness of Parkinson's, this show?
I think there are many good ways to do it. This is quite an innovative, unusual way to do it. I've certainly never got something like it before, and yes, I do. I think it's a really good way to do it.
Fantastic. Was it what you expected? And it can
yes. Yeah, yes and no. I mean, I'll be honest here. I've seen some of the Parky Players productions before. But yeah, I think it's been great fun actually, just sort of seeing them mature and improve. And definitely, this is probably one of the longer, I don't mean it in a bad way, but one of the longer productions. A lot's gone into it, and definitely one of their better ones, absolutely.
So with, I'll let them finish. Essentially, final question. With what was it I asked? I'm trying to remember what I asked someone else. What part of the show did you enjoy the most, or parts, if there was anything that stood out to you that you thought was really nice?
Ooh, blimey. I think it appealed to me personally. There's some great, very random bits, which really tickled my sense of humour. So the Dennis Waterman song, suddenly in the middle of it, was really quite random and rather wonderful. The song at the end was great. I'm aware that the team went out to Barcelona and represented Parky Players there and sang in front of a huge audience out there at a convention from Parkinson's. So it's great to actually hear that in the flesh. And Nursey, she's always really good. So, but yeah, for me it's good fun. It's really good fun, and it's also it's getting across a really important message. As you can probably see here, I'm in a wheelchair. It's a relatively new thing for me, but I'm learning all the time, and a lot of it is about other people's perceptions of how they should behave around you, and what you're able to do, what you're not able to do. And really, there's many parallels between that and Parkinson's in educating and letting other people understand all about, how your condition affects you.
Fantastic. Very final question. Is there anything else that you'd like to add? Anything else that you think you would like to add?
No, not really. I'd love to see them going from strength to strength. I hope they keep going. I think it's a great way to get across a really important message.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank
Pleasure.
you.
I'm Victor. I came to see Shaken Not Stirred by the Parky Players tonight. My dad, Magnus, plays Dr. No in the play. It was my first time coming to see it. I greatly enjoyed it. I thought it was a great show. looking forward to whatever they put on next.
So, what memory will you take away from tonight's show?
I can't think of anything specific. All of it was pretty memorable. The song at the end was great. But I really liked how it blended comedy with raising awareness for Parkinson's, and I think that's probably the biggest takeaway for me. Even though my dad's had Parkinson's for about 10 years at this point, there's still a lot I didn't know about it that I've learned tonight.
Fantastic. So, do you think this is a good way to raise awareness about Parkinson's?
I think it's an excellent way, yeah, an amazing way.
So, I was still talking at the end of that, so I'm going to be putting that out. So,
No worries.
So, yes, sir, do you think this is a good method of telling people how about Parkinson's?
I do, yeah, I think it's an excellent way. A lot of people don't have the interest to just read up a Wikipedia article or a WebMD article about symptoms, nor would they ever even Google it in the first place. But blending it with a comedy like this, I think, is an excellent way to sort of raise awareness without people even knowing they're being made aware of it.
I mean, you also see the perspective of a family member who has an illness, and you say things that works well. Out of interest, could you mention one or a couple of ones that you weren't aware about?
It's a bit hard off the top of my head, but for example, the drooling or the dribbling, I wasn't aware that was a Parkinson's thing. And there's just so many invisible symptoms that I don't notice looking at my dad, for example, that he's probably dealing with every day.
So, was the show what you expected?
Yeah. I wasn't really sure what to expect. This is my first time seeing it, but I thought it was really well written. It was well acted, and it accomplished its goal of raising awareness.
And why is it important to try and find different ways to try and educate people about symptoms of things like Parkinson's?
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to repeat that. I didn't hear over.
Why is it important do you feel, if you feel at all, that people should be trying to be educated and informed about things like Parkinson's and how it affects them?
For one, the more awareness is raised, the more money is normally put into research. And two, I think it's don't know how to word this. I'm sorry, I'm going to start that again if that's alright. I lost my train of thought completely. Could you repeat the question?
Yeah. So, why is it beneficial to have something like a show like this that's entertaining, designed for something that basically is designed to raise awareness and understanding of situations like Parkinson's? Why is it important?
I think the more awareness that's raised, the more money normally gets put into funding a cure or just research, and also it means that people, if they see someone with obvious signs of Parkinson's out in public, they're less likely to stare or anything like that. They might know what's going on, or even if they don't, they'll just, instead of staring, they'll just not say anything or not do anything.
Is there anything for you that you think that we've not covered already that you think this show is able to do?
Sorry, could you repeat that again, please?
Is there anything that this show does in sort of being a comedy and stuff like that that it's useful for the audience if they're going to?
I think it means that the information is retained in your brain more rather than going to a lecture where you're sat there for an hour and a half and they're talking at you and it sort of goes in and out. But I think people are more likely to remember when it's in the form of humour like this, like when they were doing the game show and talking about dyskinesia and all those kinds of things. Whereas if a lecturer was talking about dyskinesia, it's not quite as, doesn't quite go in the same way.
And was there any moments of the show that you really enjoyed or thought were really good?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head because I really enjoyed the whole thing. I thought it was all excellent, honestly. I thought it was a great show.
And is there anything else that you'd like to add? Have you thought about the show?
Not really. Just that I hope the Parky players get the funding they need to put on more shows like this in future.
Fantastic. That's awesome.
Thank you. I hope it wasn't too bad there.
Again, like, trust me.
Hello, my name is Sheila, and I'm here tonight because I'm one of the Parky players. There's a group of us who put together plays that help through the through the medium of television and film and things like that. We are using those to explain to people what Parkinson's is, why it's such a horrible thing to live with, and what we can do to make it better. And we do it by performing on the stage.
What made you get involved with Parky players?
It was my friend Janet's obsession with doing stuff, having a project. She likes to have a project. And she called a group of us, she emailed us and said, why don't we have a group meeting on the internet, which we did, all sat in our little houses with our computers on. And Janet always blames me, but I don't think it was me. One of us said, why don't we write a panto and make it about Parkinson's? And that's what we did about 3 years ago.
So, in those 3 years, what's your experience personally doing these shows? Is there anything that you weren't expecting that has happened?
I wasn't expecting for it to be so much fun. And there's so much funny things that go on in the world of Parkinson's. And because we've got it, we're allowed to be rude about people with Parkinson's, which we do on a generally daily basis.
And has there been any audience reactions? Any people who come up to you after the show? Being happy to share their own experiences with you?
We've had lots and lots of positive people come in and saying, it's just like that, you're telling it the way it is. And that is terrific because they pass it on to other people and it spreads. And I think that if you go to hospital to an outpatient clinic, the Parkinson's clinic is so much more vital and so much more two-way than other conditions who are sitting there looking very glum. And I think it's important that we keep on telling people what it's like.
Of the people I've interviewed, everyone said that if they've seen shows before, they've known of the story or friends before, they've said that when they've still come and seen the shows, they still come away learning something new that they weren't aware of.
Oh, yes.
How do you, as a person who has Parkinson's, do you think it's important to express to people who don't understand things for them to understand? What's the benefit of that happening?
It makes people nicer. If you see somebody tripping over in the road, you think they've had a drink, one too many. If you know they've got Parkinson's, you're more likely to go and receive a bandage on the knee. And
as you said again, the train just sounded a little bit too loud.
ask me the gist of the question.
So, why is it important to inform audiences about symptoms and situations that arise with someone?
If you know that someone has got Parkinson's and you have been to a play or something like we've done tonight, and if you let them know that this person is not spilling his gravy all over his plate and the floor deliberately, this is life with Parkinson's. Your body does its own thing and it doesn't ask, please, is it convenient if I throw my dinner on the floor? It just happens. And it's so embarrassing. It's like there was an item on the play tonight about dribble. I mean, nobody talks about dribble. 300,000 of us in the UK have got dribble. And it is hard to live with it and to not. A woman wants to feel attractive, and dribbling does not help.
Thank you. Of the years before the shows, are there any memories of any particular shows, be it this one, any previous ones that you've really enjoyed and you've had a chance to experience?
I think everything that I've done with this group has improved my quality of life. And people appreciate it so much. They go away and they find out things for themselves. Because there are 90 symptoms attached to Parkinson's. So I might have 20 of one kind. Somebody else could have 20 of another, which means we've got the basis of the same thing, but it's different in everybody.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Just to tell people not to be afraid or put off by somebody who's dribbling in the corner. Because there's a story about Richard Bryars. It's not Richard Bryars, is it Richard? Yeah, it's Richard. Richard Bryars had a cousin called Terry Thomas, who was a comedian in the 1950s and 60s. And he had Parkinson's, and Richard Bryars went to see him. He was dying. And he said, "Would you like a champagne? Would you like some champagne?" And it took Terry Thomas about 2 minutes to answer, but when he answered, he said, "In a bucket." I think that says it all, really. He just drank himself to death, but of course he had fun doing it.
Well, thank you. That's fantastic. Thank you very much.
It doesn't bother me.
I am Alison Parnham and I have come to the Vic pub to see Shaken But Not Stirred by Parky Players.
How did you find out about the show?
Through links with Beeston Players, who some of the actors from Beeston Players have been working with Parky Players, so that's the close connection. So I joined some of the group at the very early onset of development stages, but then wasn't then involved.
Fantastic. So, what memory will you take away from tonight's show?
Oh gosh, so much about Parkinson's, about the unfairness of the deal that patients with Parkinson's have, about the difference between prescriptions in Scotland and England was a learning curve for me, about the emotion that lies behind the support that patients with Parkinson's have, the age that Parkinson's can begin to develop, the progressive illness that it is associated with, the impact of Parkinson's, the fact that there is no cure, the fact that there is limited awareness of it. There's so much that I've learned that it makes me feel really quite emotional.
Do you think this is a good way to raise awareness about it?
Yes, I do, because I think what Parky Players have done is raise awareness through acting, through humour, through a theme of James Bond. So by having that theme, actually the general public relate to it, but then intertwined to all of that theme are the very, very important key messages that reach out to the public, that hopefully reach out to Parliament, that reach out wider, that get those messages across.
Was there anything in tonight's show that like information, and you mentioned those things you've learned, but was there anything that really stood out for you that you were really surprised by?
I think the fact that there isn't a cure and that there is limited research into Parkinson's. There obviously will be research out there, but that there is limited emphasis on the need to do more research, and I think Dr. No clearly got that message across, and that message was no, there's just no, there's nothing, and that if that message gets across to the public, to healthcare, to medical care, then surely it means that maybe people will start thinking, actually, there is more that we can do, there is more funding that can go into this, there is more research that can begin to make a difference. And it's about listening to those messages, I think, as well.
Was the show what you expected?
I did see it. I did see the beginning, so it was better than I expected. It was very good, the first version that I saw, and that was before the Fringe. So having seen all of them come through that experience and then go to the Fringe and the continued rehearsals, today just topped it.
Is there anything that you think that this show and these types of shows can do that maybe other awareness campaigns might not reach? Something like this might be able to do better at educating about Parkinson's
in different areas of I think areas of healthcare. I think the government, the people in Parliament should be seeing this. I think there are healthcare teams that support Parkinson's, and that might be an additional link that gets into that. I work in healthcare, so there might be additional links within healthcare. It's about raising a wider awareness, and I think this is the group that could take that forward, really.
Is there anything that don't worry follow other people saying, because I know it's is there anything that you think would be a pinpoint of really why people who actually have Parkinson's themselves are expressing this in a performative way? Is there something that's useful about that to help get this message across?
Yeah, I think it's about variations across healthcare, and it's about reducing that unwanted variation, and it's about everybody deserves the need for the right healthcare, the right intervention at the right time. And so if that's not equitable across the country, then it's not fair to people and patients who have been diagnosed with Parkinson's. And so it's about reducing that unwanted variation, I would say, and that this group is a key driver of pushing that forward.
Is there anything else that I'd like to add?
It was a great night, made me laugh, made me cry, so it was great.
Yeah. Was there any moments in the show that stood out for you more than others?
There were so many moments that made me think about, I understand more now about Parkinson's. I think maybe the effects that they actually, what the actors did very well was display subtly, but the message was there, was the effects, the side effects of Parkinson's, and the tremor, the dribbling, the jerky movements, the changes that happen to somebody physically that might be subtle or might be not quite so subtle, and that if people raise awareness around that, then stop the staring, stop the judgment, and let's be kind and compassionate and do something about it, really.
That's amazing. Thank you very much.
That it, mate.
Go on. What's it called?
It's the Parky Player Shaken Not Stood.
Should I introduce you or should I introduce just me and you?
Yeah.
What?
Just
you as
so-
well?
You introduce me.
This is a perfect outtake now.
She's only known me 30 years. Right, so I'm Linda, this is Jackie, we're friends and neighbours. We've come along tonight to support the party players. I don't know about
Shaken, not stirred.
Shaken, not stirred. I don't know about Jackie. I don't know a lot about Parkinson's. So I've learnt a lot. Jackie?
I've heard so much. I'm kind of like disappointed in the fact that we don't know enough about it. But it was really good that we could learn about it, and we could learn about it in a fun way without anybody feeling like they were offended.
Or being lectured to.
Or being lectured to, yeah. It was an absolutely fantastic night. They really must have deserved, well, they really do deserve that award that they got.
Yeah.
And we look forward to hearing more about them.
And you mentioned obviously trying to educate through comedy and stuff like that. Were things like the game show format and the other things, were they good different methods to sort of play with those ideas and stuff?
I think that was probably the best method for people that have absolutely no knowledge about Parkinson's disease to actually, just remember, even if you just remember one or two things about it. If you met somebody with Parkinson's disease and you might think, oh, actually, they're a bit, I don't know, rude or they're
Facial expressions
yeah,
and what
they're not bothered.
You'd understand
Yeah,
before.
I would absolutely understand more about it now.
And so is there anything memory-wise you're going to take away from tonight's show? Anything that stood out for you?
I think the struggles that the people with Parkinson's have. I mean, I know it was funny. They made us laugh, but
But it had a serious
yeah.
message.
But at the end of the day, like you say, to not be able to get your medication on time, which
And the
would
fact that the 50-year thing, there's
Yeah,
been no
yeah.
developments in that's disgusting.
Yeah.
It needs looking into, and it needs support, and it needs something going forward to help them.
yeah.
Definitely.
Do you think this is? Oh, you have essentially already said this, but do you think this is a good method of raising awareness about
It's
Parkinson's?
an absolutely brilliant method of raising awareness, because if you preach to somebody, they're not going to listen to you. It'll just be like another politician. This is this is perfect.
Comedy, but with a serious
Yeah,
message.
yeah.
So, what for you do you think is important about making sure, like you were saying, you say that you didn't feel like you knew enough about it? Why do you think it is important more needs to be known about?
Because there's so many people with Parkinson's that are suffering all the time, and not enough is being done. There's loads being done.
Seems to be more emphasis on the cancer.
Cancers, prostate cancers.
They're just not getting the
airtime.
publicity.
Yeah, publicity, airtime.
It needs to be
Yeah.
spoken about more.
Yeah.
It needs to be, well, to be honest, I think we need politicians standing up for them and bringing it into Parliament, and let's get something done for them. Let's get some research. It's what's needed at the end of the day.
I think as well. I think something that came. I mean, there was a joke about the doctor's receptionist.
Yeah.
and that comes up so many times. But I think it's there needs to be more, I don't know, aware that if they don't get their medication,
It's serious. They need it. It's got to be.
if they don't get the medication though, it seems to me, I mean, like I say, we've only learned today, but it seems like it will cut their like a month's worth of
Tablets, prescription medication, whatever.
yeah, but
their recovery, well, not recovery. 'Cause
Quality
you
of
don't.
life. And obviously, the difference in this situation is everyone involved in obviously performing it obviously does have Parkinson's themselves. Is it important to be hearing from people who have Parkinson's expressing it themselves?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I think you relate to it more
Yeah.
rather than an advert on
Yeah.
TV or whatever. I mean, I never knew what went
Yeah.
through the symptoms and whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas listening to it tonight, and even with the comedy value, it still makes you think and realise that you do need help and they do need research and they do need the money putting into it.
Is there anything from how the show obviously explores obviously how people's daily lives and their quality of life is and what they need support and stuff like that? Is there anything about that is important to highlight the humanity of someone who has Parkinson's and how they deal with it? Is that an important factor?
It's an important factor, but it's no matter what condition you have, you should be treated with respect, with dignity, and it just seems to me that they're not being treated with respect and dignity. But that's Parkinson's, but that is a lot of other conditions as well. And I think watching something like this actually makes you realise how bad we can be sometimes. Like you're saying, looking at somebody because they're twitching or doing
Not
something,
being able to express.
yeah, or doing something that's not the norm, whatever you call the norm.
Then a gentleman see how nice a dame you can be. I know the way you treated other guys you've been with will not be a lady with me.
Welcome, everybody, to the Casino Royale in Blackpool. First, parking
No.
Hippos, cows, dogs. I mean, nobody thinks dogs are evil, now do they?
Oh, I lost that field.
Oh, he hasn't like cats, though. He's allowed cats, isn't he?
Yeah. But what about our security guards? They've all got machine guns.
Yeah. Well, we do hush-hush work here, don't we? We don't want everybody knowing what we're doing, do we? Especially our competitors.
Okay. Right then. What about these heads of department? They're a bit strange, aren't they?
In what way?
Well, one's about 7 foot tall and got these metal gnashes. And this other one, he's got this bowler hat, and he takes it off sometimes and he throws it and he slices through walls and people and everything.
That just proves it's an equal opportunity.
Got you now. Last week we had a delivery of 100 lasers.
Well, Bobbin Supplies, he says the boss is getting ready to launch.
What, launch a laser attack against the planet and hold it to ransom for over $1 trillion?
No! He's getting ready to launch a range of shops across the globe through eye correction surgery. You need lasers for that, don't you? I've had enough of this. You sound like Adam. He worked in accounts, you know, and I've not seen him since last Thursday. I mean, honestly, our boss, how can somebody that runs a multi-billion pound empire, how can anybody with that much money
Understanding of Parkinson's within the general public? Is there enough understanding of Parkinson's amongst the medical profession? No. Do you want world domination? No.
Apart from obsessing about world domination, can't you understand why people with Parkinson's are fed up despite all of these investments being made for all these so-called innovations, and there's still no cure, and we're not getting any closer to it? At least I tried.
You know who I am. My name's Bond, James Bond, licensed to kill.
Who needs a license? We don't get licenses, do we? He's just a bit up himself.
What do you do in your spare time, Mr. Bond?
Oh, I tend to my voluptuous bonsai tree, Octobushy.
Do you see now why we want to kill him? Well, Mr. Bond, if you could choose any prize this evening, what would you choose?
My freedom.
That's never going to happen. The best you can hope for is to choose a method of your own demise. No, wait, no. The director says that the mayor of Broxtowe is here today and we're not allowed to do any murdering, so we'll have to use a prize instead. We have the gold finger. Well, shall we introduce you to our panel? We have got the wonderful nurse! Are you going to be good today?
I always am, aren't I, Mary?
And we have got Doctor Okay, Mr. Bard, I'll come back to you. I'm going to see what panel I've got first. So, Nurse, what did you put?
Fascination with puppetry.
Just remind me, what comedy, Megan?
Psychiatric masquerade.
And, Dr. No, what have you got for your answer?
No.
No? Did you write anything down? Show me if you did. No. Really helpful. So anyhow, come on, say what was your answer? Don't worry, it's just Pleasure Beach.
Frozen fifth.
No, I'm struggling with the whole Scottish, Russian accent. Tell me again.
Very good. Frozen fifth.
Frozen face. Okay, I think I've got it. Frozen face. Now, Mr. Bond, what have you got?
Facial masking.
What on earth's that?
When you have Parkinson's, you can find it hard to show expression and smile due to the lack of dopamine.
Well, I didn't know that. So let's see. We have got frozen face on the end, and we have got facial masking. Well, audience, what do you think? Is it a match? Yes! There's only one more thing for me to do, and that's to give him the gold finger. So smug. Sit there, Nurse. I'm making you more smug now. For you, Mr. Bond. Prizes like the golden gun and the golden eye. Bye!
Time wonderful life to unfold all the precious things.
Thank you for watching to our rather silly show. On a serious note, we are doing this because we are really fed up with the lack of progress developing new treatments and finding a cure for Parkinson's. There has been no real development of becoming closer to a cure or any real drugs for over 50 years.
We are also fed up with the lack of public awareness of this
Tombola show going. Plenty of prizes left in the tombola.
Okay, you get the prize at the time, that's good. I'm from Yorkshire, I didn't know. So, go and drink alcohol and do legal things, and then come and talk to us. Thank you very much.
Look, she's gone to get a drink. I think Chris.